Heyo! Welcome to Rachel Addis Reads. I'm Rachel and today I'm going to be talking about the differences between young adult and adult books. So this topic came to mind when I was reading this book, A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. Most of it is nice, young adult friendly fluff, so to speak. And then there's a scene in the middle, a bit of rumpy pumpy, where I was like, do you really want a child to be reading this? So I decided to look into what actually makes a book young adult, what actually makes a book adult. And here we go. So very generally speaking, young adult books are aimed towards 12 to 18-year-olds. Adult books are 18 plus. There is sort of an in-between, which is new adult, which is aimed 18 to 24. I'm not going to discuss that one today. It's a bit of a wishy-washy one at the moment. Might save that for a later video. So here are 5 things that you'll need to consider when deciding if a book is young adult or adult. That's if you're writing a book, you need to consider it. I suppose if you're reading a book, it's already been classified and it's not really up to you. Number 1, the age of the characters. Generally speaking, if you have a 15-year-old protagonist and they are hanging around with a bunch of 15-year-olds, I'm Harry Potter and I'm 11 years old. In the first book anyway. You're probably reading or writing a young adult book. However, if you're reading or writing about a 30-something-year-old divorcee who is trying to support 3 children, I'm Cersei Lannister and I'm married to the King of 7 Kingdoms and have 3 children, you're probably reading an adult book. Now this isn't a hard and fast rule. There are adult books that feature younger protagonists. Stephen King, I believe, is one of them with It. So this is not a hard and fast rule. It can go either way, but is one factor that can contribute. Now, the reason that Stephen King's It would be classified as an adult, even though it's got a young protagonist, is because of reason 2. Book themes. With book themes, I'm kind of referring to what the characters are experiencing and going through. If you have a young protagonist who is dealing with going to school and bullies and coming of age, I'm Harry Potter and I'm learning to be a wizard and I really don't like Draco Malfoy, he's a bully. You're probably reading a young adult book. Whereas if you've got your 30-something-year-old who is currently going through a divorce, having been maybe abused in the past, trying to get child support from the husband whilst also dealing with noisy neighbours. I'm Cersei Lannister and I want to be Queen of the 7 Kingdoms in my own right, so I'm going to kill my husband. Probably an adult book. Number 3. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So this is a really obvious one and you were thinking it, weren't you? I was thinking it, you were thinking it, we were all thinking it, don't lie. Interestingly enough, the inclusion of sex does not exclude YA. It's more about how the sex is portrayed. If you've got 2 characters who end up having sex, but it's kind of implied, or it focuses more on the emotional side of the sexual interaction. I'm Harry Potter and I don't get to kiss a girl until book 5. Then this is definitely leaning towards the young adult. However, if the book is raunchy, and it describes people's quivering members and things like that, I'm Cersei Lannister and I like to have raunchy graphic sex with my brother. Probably an adult book, probably an erotica book at that. Number 4, violence and language. Young adult books can still definitely have both of these things, but it's likely to be fairly sporadic and not particularly graphic. I'm Harry Potter and the only way I fight people is to take away their wands. Expelliarmus! In an adult book, on the other hand, you can have very, very graphic images for both of these things. You're likely to have quite graphic torture, and if your characters are spilling off I'm Cersei Lannister and I like to watch people get their heads chopped off with great big swords, then it's probably an adult book. Number 5, your setting. Now obviously young adult and adult books can be set anywhere. People can go wherever they want. However, if you've got a book that is in a high school or at home with mum and dad for the most part, I'm Harry Potter and I go to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Yay! Yay! You're probably going to be reading a young adult book. On the other hand, if the book is set primarily in the workplace or in a home that they maybe own or rent, I'm Cersei Lannister and I rule my kingdom from a great big castle that I have all to myself, then you're probably leaning towards that adult side. Now, I have one very deliberate omission to this, and that is writing style. I feel that there are a lot of young adult books that are very insightful and intelligently written, and there are a lot of adult books that are supposed to be light reads. They're very easy reads, the language isn't complicated, so I'm actually leaving it out of this video quite deliberately. But there you have it. Some of the things to think about if you're unsure what you're reading or what you're writing. Obviously, none of them on their own will decide if the book is young adult or adult, but they might help you along the way. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe and the like button. Do both, that'd be great. But I'd also love to know what you thought. Are there any other things in particular that you think classify these books? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and reviewing on Goodreads. Please hit me up on the socials, I would love to hear from you. Go read an adult book, go read a young adult book, let me know what you think, and don't forget to laugh at yourself. See you later. The cat's like, Don't eat Cersei's crown. A Lannister always pays his debts.